Hello, Shraddha. How are you?
Good, sir. I'm good. Good afternoon, sir.
Okay. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Shraddha Shrivastava. I was born and brought up in Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh, and I did my schooling from there. Thereafter, I pursued my BBA LLB from National Law University, Odisha, and I graduated in 2021.
Okay. Okay. So you're appearing for this interview of Delhi Judicial Services,
Yes.
and I believe even UPPCSJ is right around the corner next month,
Yes.
12th of February. So are you not planning to go for UP Judicial Services?
Sir, Delhi was always my first priority. And from the starting, I decided that I wanted to give Delhi Judicial Services. So I have not as yet planned on appearing for the UP Judicial Services.
Okay. So you are saying you will not be giving UP Judicial Services examination? You will not
No,
be
sir.
appearing?
No, sir.
Okay, okay. And you are a graduate of 2019,
2021.
2021. Okay. So you graduated during the time of pandemic.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So why Delhi Judicial Services only? Why not Punjab or Haryana?
Sir, Punjab Judicial Services required Punjabi, the knowledge of Punjabi, which I don't know. And also, I always wanted to appear for Delhi because since it's the capital, and also the paper pattern, I found it to be very challenging when I analyzed it, and I always wanted to ace it. So that is also one of the reasons for choosing DJS.
Okay. What will be your profile if you get selected?
Sir, I would be a civil judge, junior division.
Okay. So you will be a civil judge or a metropolitan magistrate?
Sir, I might be given the additional charge of a metropolitan magistrate, but that depends. I, as of now, have no knowledge about it.
Okay, okay. So you will not directly become a metropolitan magistrate. You can only be given a charge of a metropolitan magistrate. Is that what you are saying?
Yes, sir, additional jurisdiction. As far as my limited knowledge is concerned, I think that additional charge of metropolitan magistrate can be given.
Okay,
But
okay.
yes, sir.
Anything famous about Kanpur? Anything famous?
So it is known for its textile and leather industries.
Okay. And you have studied from Odisha, anything specific, any good thing about Cuttack?
Yes, sir. There's a lot of natural beauty there in Cuttack, and also my college was situated between two rivers, which one being Mahanadi and other being Kathajodi. So it was a very beautiful place to live in.
Okay. So, since you have done your graduation from a national law university, why did you not
Yes.
choose LLM and why did you not go for CLAT PG?
So I always wanted to become a judge, and so I took my preparation towards being a judge, and I did not apply for any corporate placements. And just after completing my graduation, I instantly started preparing for Delhi Judicial Services. And as soon as the notification was out, I applied for it.
Okay, so this is your first attempt at DJS.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and there was certainly no gap between your academics ending and your preparation and the
Yes.
appearance in the DJs. Fair enough. Any specific area of interest that you possess, Shraddha?
So for this exam, I have prepared all the areas, but I think I'm a bit inclined towards specific relief act.
You're a bit inclined towards specific relief act. None of the major laws take your interest,
So
is it?
all the major laws. So
All the major
I
laws.
have prepared all the major laws.
Acha, you are comfortable with all the major laws. Your special area of inclination is SRA.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. So before moving towards SRA, let's ask you a few questions about the major subjects. If you are
Okay, sir.
thorough and comfortable, Constitution was a part of your academia, and you have studied Constitution, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So What is your take on the recent judgment in case of the hijab ban?
Okay, sir. So, there was recently a split verdict about the hijab ban, and according to my personal opinion, I think that hijab should be protected as a fundamental right under the freedom of speech and expression, and it should be construed as a it should be construed rather than as a religious matter. It should be construed to be an expression of one's choice and beliefs, and also uh, I think even if hijab is allowed as a freedom of expression, it won't be violating any other fundamental rights, or limitations like public order or morality would not be violated. So I think hijab should be allowed.
Okay, so as you called it a split verdict, who were the two justices who were involved in this judgment?
So I'm unable to recall the names. I'm sorry. I'll go back and look into it.
Not a problem. Apart from that, what do you know about the current Chief Justice of India?
So our current Chief Justice of India is D.Y. Chandrachud, and he will have a tenure of almost 2 years, and he's the 50th Chief Justice of India. His father, Y.V. Chandrachud, was also served also as a Chief Justice, and he was the longest serving Chief Justice of India.
Okay. For how many years?
So, if I'm not wrong, 4 years.
For 4 years. 4 years or 7 years, Shraddha?
So, sorry, sir. I'm unable to recall the exact time period.
Not a problem. Any specific judgment that you have read or you have studied of Justice D.Y. Chandrachud?
Uh, no, sir.
No? Okay, not a problem. What is your take on the recent Mehrauli rape case?
So, I'm unaware of the Mehrauli rape case.
Mehrauli murder case, we can not call it the rape case, the Mehrauli murder case. Are you aware about the same? It was in news for quite some time.
No, sir.
Wherein one guy who had a live-in partner, he murdered her and then cut her body into various pieces.
So, it was a Delhi-based. I got confused. The Delhi-based case.
Yeah,
Okay, sir. So, what are my views as in on the punishment and the sentencing?
exactly.
Okay, so as far as I am aware of the facts were such that the couple got into a heated argument, and wherein he murdered the girl or the woman living with him, and thereafter he went on to cut the body into pieces and disposed of her body. So, sir, if as far as my limited knowledge of facts is concerned, I think that uh, it it might not be covered under murder, and he might be able to take the defense of grave and sudden provocation, depending on the facts of the case, and it would be covered under culpable homicide. So the punishment would be given accordingly. And as far as the disposing of the body is covered, I'm unable to recall the exact section, but I think it would be covered under hiding of the evidence.
Okay, okay. So, if we talk about this case, this Mehrauli murder case, you
Okay.
as a judge, let's say, consider yourself to be a judge in a position in the authority of granting a judgment. You shall be giving a judgment under which section for this particular offense?
So under judgment,
Yeah,
so
you would be
I
sentencing him under which section?
section 304
300
of
and
Indian Penal Code.
okay. And the para of significance would be para 1 or para 2?
Sir, I think as far as my limited knowledge of the facts is concerned, I think the attack was done with the intention of causing the death. So it would be paragraph 1.
Paragraph 1. Okay. So while we are looking at the criminal aspect, one question that would arise over here is what exactly is the provision of fabrication of evidence talks about?
So I'm unable to recall the exact provision. I'd go
Okay,
back and look into.
not a problem. Any specific thing about fabrication of evidence which you are aware about? Because
So
you mentioned that there is a fabrication of evidence. So what exactly is it?
Fabrication of evidence is basically comes into picture when the evidence is fabricated during the course of the trial. And I think the section will apply here, which is hiding of the evidence, or it would be disposing of the evidence before the trial commences.
Okay.
So, yes, sir.
Okay. So this will be like concealing of evidences
Yes,
rather than fabrication of evidences.
yes.
Okay. Apart from that, Shraddha, when we look at the Specific Relief Act, under Specific Relief Act, what exactly is the provision that deals with the scenario which would give a relief if an agreement is void?
Okay, sir. So, as far as my knowledge is concerned, in a case of void agreement, the relief can be given under Section 33 of the Act, where it talks about the cancellation of the Act and restoration of the benefit. It depends on whether the plaintiff is applying for the relief, or whether the defendant is claiming that the agreement was void.
Okay. What kind of injunctions are provided under Specific Relief Act?
Yes, sir. The Specific Relief Act mentions both kind of injunctions, temporary and permanent. But the temporary injunctions are governed by the Code of Civil Procedure, and the Specific Relief Act basically deals with the permanent injunction. And even in permanent injunction, it talks about two kinds of injunction: one being the mandatory injunction, and one being the preventive injunction. So the mandatory injunction in nature, it talks about the orders where the court orders the person to do a certain kind of thing to stop the wrongdoing. Whereas preventive injunction involves the order where it prevents the person from continuing that wrong.
Okay, that would be the Specific Relief Act. Other than that, which are the amendments that deal with the right to education under the Indian Constitution? What is that amendment that deals with the right to education?
So can I take a few seconds to think about it? Sir, by the amendment of 2005, the right to education was made a fundamental right by adding Article 21A of the Constitution, and as far as my limited knowledge is concerned, it was 86th Amendment, and I am unable to recall the amendment which added it in directive principles of state policy.
Okay. Directive principles of state policies hold their origin from which country, which state?
So, USSR.
Directive principles of state policies are from USSR.
Sorry, sir, I am unable to recall.
Okay. And from where do we get the fundamental duties?
No, sorry, sir.
The fundamental rights?
So I'm unable to recall the exact.
The sources, you are not able to recall the
Yes.
sources? Okay, not a problem. Let's talk about the Indian Contract Act.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So when we talk about the Indian Contract Act, which particular section, yeah, which area of Indian Contract Act provides for or deals with void agreements. A list of void agreements is provided. So where is that provided?
Okay, sir. So section 23 provides for illegal agreements, and thereon section 24, 25, 26, 27, till section 30, they provide for void agreements.
They provide for void agreement. Fair enough. Now, let's say, Shraddha, when you become a judge and a person is brought before you and that person has been arrested by the police, what is the first thing that you will ensure while that arrested person is brought before you? As a magistrate, as a judge, what will be your responsibility to ensure when that person is presented before you?
Sir, I would ensure that the person has been informed about his rights as given under the Criminal Procedure Code, the right to inform somebody known to him that he has been arrested. And then I would see that if he knows about the provisions of bail, and then if applicable, I would go on to give bail if it falls within my jurisdiction.
Okay, okay, okay. Is there a provision relating to arrest under CPC?
Yes, sir.
Where is it?
So, section 41 deals with arrest under Criminal Procedure Code.
CPC.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Huh.
So, Civil Procedure Code. So, can I take a moment to think about it? So, as far as I'm able to recall, arrest under Civil Procedure Code happens during the execution of a decree.
Okay.
And it would be governed under Order 21 of the code. And I am unable to recall the exact rule which applies.
Okay, okay, okay. Are you comfortable with CPC as well, Shraddha? Comfortable with CPC?
Yes, sir.
You can be honest about it.
So I have not revised it as of yet properly, but
Okay.
I can.
Okay. So, what are the grounds of rejecting a plaint?
So rejection of plaint is dealt under Order 7, Rule 11 of Civil Procedure Code, and it lays down certain grounds. So for the first ground is if the plaint is barred under any other law, and other grounds are if the plaint is insufficiently stamped or not properly stamped, and if it is barred under provisions of the same order, Rule 9, which is if the plaint was not filed in duplicate. And sir, I'm unable to recall the other grounds.
Okay, not a problem. What about judicial review under the Indian Constitution?
Okay,
Where do
sir.
you get to see, or where do you get to know about the judicial review, or has it been provided in any case law under the Indian Constitution, or the genesis of judicial review?
So, the term judicial review has not been used under the Constitution of India, but the concept of judicial review has been developed through the cases, and it provides that the court can check the validity of the administrative or the executive process when it passes any law or regulation, and uh, article Article 36 of the Constitution allows it read with the. Sir, I'm unable to recall the other articles.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Do you know the preamble of the Indian Constitution?
So exactly. So exactly, I don't remember, but I remember the order of the words.
Okay, so what is the sequence? The words that
Okay,
are
sir.
prominently used under the preamble.
So it starts with "We the people of India," and then it talks about constituting India into a sovereign, social, and secular country. And then it talks about justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of faith, belief, uh, and belief and worship, and opportunity. And then it talks about fraternity, and
Okay,
yes, sir.
fair enough. Has there been any recent amendments in your favorite subject, SRA?
Yes, sir. There was a major amendment in 2018, which
Okay.
basically changed the nature of the relief, which was earlier more discretion based. It changed the nature to more mandatory in nature, and specific relief has to be now provided by the courts mandatorily in cases wherever it is applicable.
What were the specific provisions in which these amendments were made?
So one major amendment was made under Section 10, whereby it talked about the cases where specific relief could not be granted. Now it has been amended, and then certain provisions were added in the last part of the chapter, which talked about injunctions in certain cases. So the also a new schedule was added, which talked about certain infrastructure projects in which the injunction cannot be given on a prima facie basis. This was done to ensure the completion of those infrastructure projects as soon as possible.
Okay. And what exactly are declaratory decrees under SRA?
So, declaratory decrees have been provided under Section 34 of the Act, and it talks about when a person applies for a relief which is only declaratory in nature, and this is done when some other person challenges his legal right. So this is a right in personam and not a right in rem. The person can only apply for this right when it is under threat by some other legal person.
Okay. Okay. Any examples of right in rem, as you called it?
Yes, sir. So, right in rem probation decrees, matrimonial decrees, they would amount to right in rem.
Okay. 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 Fair enough. Fair enough, Shraddha. So you've done a good job. Good work. Great job.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.